Welcome to the Soft Power Project, a podcast that journals the story of women as they navigate their own transformations. I'm Sherry, a certified coach and your host. In my mid-30s, I made the bold decision to reinvent my life. Now in my 40s, I'm sharing that journey along with the stories of women who inspire me. Like you, we're embracing growth to become our highest selves. Let's celebrate the power of self-exploration, one story at a time. To Soft Power Project, I want to talk about a concept of desperation. It's a concept I never really thought about, and because it's not a super sexy topic, right? No one really wanted to admit that they feel desperate to do something. But it was a word that Debbie mentioned during the interview. And if you haven't heard the interview, she said that when she wanted to move away from being a stay-at-home mom for many years, out of desperation, she went home, polished up her resume, drove herself to a company, the office, and just went into the office without any appointment. And she got a job right then and there. It wasn't because she was convicted that she's gonna get it. It wasn't because she was confident. It was out of desperation. So I started thinking about the word and the concept itself. Now, if you look up the dictionary, the word defines as a state of despair. Now, despair was the complete loss or absence of hope. But if you really think about what Debbie mentioned before in the interview, it wasn't because there was no hope. It was because that she had no other options, that she knew she had to do that one bold thing. And if I had to think back on my life, I had to say every time I did something out of desperation, it led me to this whole brand new perspective of myself. One example I could think of was I was studying in New York, and before graduating from Parsons School of Design, obviously, as a very responsible student, I lined up for all these interviews. I polished up my resumes. I started to go on to these interviews, and I don't even remember how many interviews I've been to, but it was always a no, mainly because I needed a visa at a time. And for the job, for the industry that I was in, it was very difficult for international students. And I got really close for a few times, but they ended up just saying that they really did not want to apply for a visa. So it was kind of out of my control, and I was feeling very, very down because a lot of my friends had jobs lined up, and I was living in New York by myself, and I didn't really know what to do. I wasn't going to just stay around and stick around and then just looking for options. I felt very desperate. So out of desperation, I decided that I was going to apply for a sales associate job. No one else was doing it in my environment. No one else was doing it in the study because for majority of them, they would go into marketing, they would go into merchandising. None of them was going to sales. But I decided that I'm just going to do it anyway. But I had zero sales experience. And at a time, in order to get a job in sales, especially in these like boutique and luxury brands, you do have to bring in clientele. I didn't have any of those. Honestly, out of desperation, I didn't care. What I did was I printed out my resume, probably 50 copies, walked up and down the Fifth Avenue and distributed my resume to sales associates. I went to Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Bulgari, Fendi, Miu Miu, Prada, you named it. And I was lucky enough to get like a few business cards. After a week gone by, I didn't get anything back. I didn't receive any phone calls. I decided to follow it up again. And after another week gone by, I followed up again. And this time I called Burberry. They picked up the phone and they said they needed someone quickly and they needed someone to work on the third floor of the flagship store. And it's okay that I didn't have any experience, but they wanted me to go in for a quick interview. And I did that. It wasn't a quick interview because I ended up meeting the HR manager, the store manager, and the CEO of the company at a time. And it was a very interesting meeting because I didn't have to answer a lot of questions. They knew I didn't have any experience. So they basically look at me and just go, okay, I think you can do the job. Report back on Monday. And that was it. Even though I worked there for less than a year, I think about 6 to 7 months, I am internally grateful for that experience because it gave me so much experience. It gave me so much insight in the retail business, and I loved every bit of it. And if I weren't desperate, I don't think I would do something so bold. It was so out of my comfort zone. Even now I'm thinking about it, it's like, wow, I did that. I cannot believe it. So today, I just wanted to challenge you, challenge everyone, challenge myself. It's okay to be desperate and do something a little bit bold. I think as we get a little bit older, maybe we get quite advanced in our career, we also get quite safe. We don't want it to do something too risky. We plan the plan A, plan B, plan C. We plan a whole entire safety net. But sometimes it's because we're just so afraid to jump. But sometimes out of desperation, you make the bold choice and the bold move. And for me, it's this podcast. Yes, even though I was a podcast host for the past 4 years for another channel, but I was so scared to do this. I was so embarrassed. I feel so vulnerable to do this, but out of desperation, I took the bold move. I invite everyone to take that bold move today, to talk to someone you've never talked to before, to say hi to a stranger you walk down the street, or whatever you choose, and have fun with it. I'll talk to you next time. Bye. The Soft Power Project is produced and hosted by Sherry Fang. For any inquiry, please email us at softpower.u@gmail.com.